Hello friends, welcome to Techify tutorial. So today I'm here with a new project. This is chat with your database, right? So, if you could remember, I had made a project, uh, a month ago where I had used this flight dashboard, right? So we made this flight dashboard using SQL, Python, and Streamlit. So in continuation to this project, I'm making one more project which is chat with your database. So here in this video, you made this dashboard, right? Using that database. So you use that you connected with your database and you did some analytics on top of that data, and you presented that all analytics using the Streamlit, right? In this project, what we are going to do is, in this project, we are going to directly chat with your database. What it means, a user could directly ask question here related to anything about that database, right? So if you could remember, the database was flight, right? So we were using the flight data to make the flight data dashboard. So instead of writing the query to find some uh, finding, like say for example, you want to find the average price between, I mean, average price of the flights between New Delhi and Hyderabad, then you could simply write on the chatbot, like, what is the average price between New Delhi and Hyderabad? So this chatbot would be able to give you the response, right? The response, and what will the response? The response would be the average price of um, the flight between the Delhi and Hyderabad. So you not need to write any query, any SQL query to generate such responses. So in that scenario, this is useful, right? And this uses the concept of agents and tools, right? We discuss what is agents and what is the tools. These are the two important components here that is used to chat with your database, right? So if I give the overview of the chat, these agent and tools, agents act as a brain, right? So when the user gives a query, that query is in form of human language, right? That language, you can't write such language on the MySQL workbench, and you can't get anything out of it because you have to write the SQL query in SQL language, right? So you write select all from the table this, and you do all this kind of things. But here in this chatbot, you could simply write in human language, and that human language will be converted into the query, and that query would be converted by the agents. So agents acts as a brain, right? And tools is an it provides you the external functionality. What does it mean? Let's see. The agents decide what queries should be generated, right? But where it should be generated, right? On there should be some tools where this query should be generated. So this query is generated on tools, and that tools is nothing but a database here in this example. But these tools could be Wikipedia. These tools could be something else, like you are making chat with your PDF. We are doing some different things, right? So that tools could be anything, but here in this example, that tools is a database, right? We'll talk in details about this agents and tools, but this was the overview, and this was the main hero of this, you could say, this project. Like, how can you use agents and tools to interact with your database, right? But before we're going to the project and to the coding side, to the coding part and other things, let's first look the demo of the project, right? So this is the code that we are going to see here in details, that how we have written, and um, what are all the requirement that is required, right? Like what are all packages and library that you need for this project that we'll see. And each line of code will understand in details, right? But before that, you know how to run the an Streamlit tag, right? You simply write here in the or you can go to command prompt, make sure that you are in your environment, and you can write Streamlit run and chat.py because this, this file name is chat, so you could write chat.py, right? And that page will be generated. So I have already written this and it is running on the local host and I could see that here. So, so this is that. So if you run that, if you write the Streamlit run chatbot.py, this UI will appear, right? And here you could see that there are certain uh, information that you need to give as a user, like right, enter your host name, right? So my host name is this will come into it, like what is this number? And this is asking about you give the user enter user name, then user password, flights, like enter database name, and here you are just clicking on the connect button and here it says that this connected to the database. So what you have given in the left, so in the left you have given all the information that is required to connect to your database, right? So for connecting your database, you need your hostname and username, password, flights, right? And here in the this chat box, you could write any query. For example, if I want to find the average price, so between the Delhi and the Hyderabad, I will write what is the average price, um, what is the average price of flights between New Delhi and Hyderabad. Hyderabad. Okay. And I press enter. Now you see here it's showing how it's generating the code, right? So now here you could see it has completed and it says that the average price of flights between New Delhi and Hyderabad is 4856.37. So you don't need to write this query. This you can see here that query is also there, right? So select average price from flights where departing city in New Delhi and arriving city in Hyderabad, right? So you don't need to write this, right? If you directly write in human language, this is the human language I was talking about. You will write this in human language, and this agent the agent would be able to decide like what should be the query that is required to to retrieve this output. This is decided by the agents. And where this code is executed, this code is executed on the database by the help of tools. Because tools make sure that your agent is connected to your database, right? So this is the use of this chatbot. You could write anything in your human language, and this chatbot would be able to generate the response based on your query, right? Okay, and you could see here how the processing is done, how it able to think, right? Okay, how it is thinking, how the agent is thinking, right? So as I said, agent act as a brain, right? It thinks that what query should be written, what database it is required, right? See, here in this example, we have only one database, right? But there could be multiple tools in a single chatbot, right? There could be we could have multiple tools. We could have a database. We could have Wikipedia as well in the same thing. So based on the user query, right? Based on the user query, agent decide that which database I should use for generating the response corresponding to this user query, right? So that is decided by the agents. So this is how this this application work, right? But what I will suggest is, if you have not seen the previous video, right, the video that is Flight Dashboard using SQL, Python, and Streamlit, you go and watch that video, because that video will give you the understanding that how you could use your database using the Python and SQL, and you could represent your, or you could present your output, you know, using the Streamlit to the users, right? And then if you see this video, now this video would be able to like give, okay, instead of writing the query, because this query would be only be written by whom? The technocrat, the technical person, right? But if a user comes that I mean, the user doesn't know how to write this query, but user what simply could do, user could write this in the simple human language, and this agent would be able to decide what should the query, and then it gives you the result, right? So this is how this dashboard work, this chatbot work, right? Um, Also, make sure, before you are connecting it with your database, make sure that you are running your um, server, right? MySQL and Apache on using the XAMPP, right? So these two modules are running currently, right? So make sure that this is running, because this how I mean the database would be hosted on some server. There then only this connection could be made, right? So make sure that you first, right, you first run this or start this before you are making any connection right here. Okay, and if I could show you, right, the uh, MySQL workbench, right, where I have my flight database is. So here you could see that this is my flights database, name of the database, right? Whatever you have given the name uh, of your database, right, you could write that name here, here while making the while making this connection, right? First, understand here the host name is, this is the host name when you are running your SQL on your local computer, right? So this is your by default host name. This is the root by default username. Password in general, it is blank, but if you required, you could give your password, you on your database, right? So if you have given your password in the database, you could write that, else you could leave it that would remain blank, and you give the name of your database, right? In my case, that name is flights. So I have given them all the information, and I have also like press this button, connect, and then this this is connected to my database. I can ask anything related to that database, and this chatbot would be able to help you in fetching the result, right? So yeah. So before starting this code part, I wanted to give you this all demo and all the information related to that. So make sure that you have connected, you have started your this Apache and MySQL module, right? Okay. Then let's come back to the next part. Next part is understanding this. So understanding the agents and tools. So now you could draw the analogy, right? How the agents and tools works based on the demo part, right? So user come, it given the some query, right? In the human language, right? Now agent decide which query, I mean, which database I should use, and what should the query, for that question that has been asked by the user. That is decided by the agent. So it is a smart system. It acts as a brain, right? It processes the input and makes decision, and it provides you the responses. Tools act as external function. Now, agent decide which query should be used. But where that query should be executed, that query is executed on tools, right? So these tools could be different. This there could be multiple tools, right? That like I said, there could be a Wikipedia, there could be a database, there could be a PDF, there could be multiple tools, right? Where agent could interact, and this interaction is done by the help of language model, right? We'll also use the LM language model, you know, in this project, right? So So this is about the agents and tools, right? Now just understand the flowchart, how the flowchart work, right? So you have already seen the demo, right? Key users from it's give the user query, right? Now once the user query is given, right, then agent and tool is get triggered, right? Here the agent layers are I mean the agents initiated, and here the tools are triggered. Now, after the user given its query, that query formulation is done. What does it mean? It means that user given the query in the human language, that human language is converted into SQL language, and this conversion is done by the agent. Here, the agent decide that which query I should use, right? This query is then passed to the database, right? Here, MySQL database. That query is then passed to uh, uh, the database. And who do this? This interaction is done by the help of tools. So here understand the tools use here on tools that query is executed, right? And once that query has been executed, now it retrieve the data. Now it retrieve the result and then it generate the response. And these response are generated by whom? Agent, right? This response are generated. The response are generated by the agent with the help of language model, right? So if you remember here, if you remember here in this demo, you could see that the answer is such that the average price of the flight between New Delhi and Hyderabad is this. I only asked for this, right? I didn't ask for this entire sentence, right? But it's giving it's forming the nice response and giving the answer, right? This is done by the help of language model because the number that is achieved by the agent is then passed to the language model to to reform this response into a better readable form, right? And and that you could see here in this demo as well, right? So yeah, and then output is generated, right? So this is the overall flowchart of the process, right? And and you could also draw the analogy of agent and tools with the help of some agent, right? You might have seen some life insurance agent, right? So you you might have come across where a person is approaching you for taking the life insurance for different company. Just think that agent act as a brain, right? You give your query, right? I need this kind of life insurance, and you given your query. Okay, I need this function, that function. Agent decide that which database, which company it should use to give you the life insurance. The agent could have a multiple company like Apollo, like Max. There could be multiple company who gives the life insurance, right? And the agent could decide based on your query that which tools. The here tools is different company, and the agent is isn't that person who decided which company you should prefer according based on your requirement, right? So you could draw the analogy. It could draw the analogy of the agent that is and the tools that is used here and the agent that act um, that works for a company for different purpose, like for you have also heard of LIC and life insurance and so on and so forth. So that could be a simple way of understanding how the agent and tools works. But I am sure that there could be a better option as well for understanding their this agent and tools, right? But I have explained you how the agent and tools works here in terms of technical words, right? Now coming to the code part, right? So you know how this you could use any ID, by the way. Here I am used the Visual Studio. You could use any ID, and you might have aware that how the environment is set up, right? What is this .env? What is how the requirement.txt this file is made, right? And this file is uh, I mean, here in this requirement.txt file, you write all the requirements, all the library and the other things that is required, for this project. Like in this project, we required Langchain. In this Python dot env, then Langchain community, Streamlit, Groq, Langchain because we are using Groq for for our language model. So if you see here, we have used this Gamma to write um, this language model as our LLM, right? So for that, we have used this Groq. Then I think Langchain Hugging Face, this is not required. By the way, you could use this MySQL connector, SQL Alchemy, right? So these are all the requirement that you will require for this project, right? So you understand how this the installation is done. You go to your command prompt, and there you write pip install minus r requirement of txt, and all the requirement will get installed in your location of your folder, right? So wherever you have created the folder, in that folder, all the requirement will be installed, and which would be required for running this project, right? So this could be done. I'm not going into details how the requirement is made and how this environment is set up. For that, you could, refer any video how the Visual Studio Code works, right? But this is simple as, right? Like you have used PyCharm, right? So PyCharm is also an ID. So, you could use PyCharm as well, instead of this, right? And and then you could use write this code um, to make your application. Okay. So here now see what are all libraries that is required, or what are all functions that we'll use in this application. So first, Streamlit, of course, pandas. I don't know whether it has been used. It has not been used here. I don't know why. I have maybe I have copied from some my previous notebook, so it has come, right. So this is not required, this two pandas and my SQL connector, but this is required. OS is required. .env import load .dnb. Now you remember this is helpful in loading whatever there is .env file. Now if you know this .env file is used to store your API key, right? In my case, I have used the API key of Groq, right? So you could go to Groq platform. So you search Groq API, right? And yeah, here could create API. So you give the name, anything name, and you submit it. Your API would be created. You could use this API key, right? Okay. In my case, I am using this API key, right? This. That's why I'm not showing it because it's a personal key, and you could also generate your own API key. This is a open source platform where you could generate your own API key and you could use your model, right? So this is what required for um for this for this project, right? So you have so this function loads all the things that is there in .env, right? Then from Langchain.groq, we are including ChatGroq. From Langchain.agents, you're including create SQL agent because this function is helping in creating the agents. Then SQL database, right? Here and here, this is helpful in where to make connection to your database, right? We'll see how. Then from LangChain.agent toolkit, you're importing SQL database toolkit. This is helpful in initiating the tools, right? We remember. Then also the agent type, right? What kind of agent type we are using? This will come into uh, details that what is this agent type and what does it means. Then you are also importing create engine from SQL Alchemy, and then this Streamlit call and callback handler, right? So we'll see each and every function as we go ahead. You know what are all this function does and how this is helpful in making this application. Okay. So first is you load the API key. This is important because right whenever you are using your LLM, right, you have to use this API key, right? And this is how you get your API key from the .env file. So in .env file you have stored your API key in the name of Groq API key. So Groq API key equal to um, your API key. So this you have already placed in this .env file, and from that file you are extracting those API key and you are storing in Groq API key variables, right? Then this is the Streamlit UI. This is how you write the title, the sidebar, chat with your database, chat, connect to your database. We have seen in the UI how this appears, right? You could write anything. You could write in the title something else, in the subheader some more thing, and you could decorate your UI, you know. And from here, the important things comes, right? So if you remember, we had a sidebar where we are um, taking the user input, right? We are asking the user for host name, username, password, right, and database name. Now, the password is of type password because, of course, we don't want to, see. I mean, we don't want the that password is visible. So if you write anything on that uh, box, right? If I could show you that, yeah, yeah. So you could write anything that works that is not visible. So you have made it as a password type, right? That's why you've given that password. Then here you are giving the name of your database, right? So you're given the enter database name and that is stored in the database. So these are all four information you are asking to the users, right? So you give me this four information and I'll be able to connect to your database, right? So, and now in the next step, what you're doing is you're setting up your Groq chat model, right? So what you do, you write this function chatGroq, where you write your API key, your model name, I mean which LLM model you use. This is the model that we are using here in this application, Gamma tool, 9 billion parameters, right? and temperature you have given zero point 0.7, so that it could be somewhat interact, somewhat flexible, um, somewhat interactive in the way that it generate the responses on its own also, right? I mean, it could formulate, it could make your responses more kind of more attractive, more kind of creative kind of things, right? That could be done with the help of these temperature parameters. So this is an important parameters when we're dealing with the language models, right? And then here in the next, what you're doing is you're writing a function configure, and this configure function is helpful in making the connection to your database. So in the configure, you are asking this for information. You give me the name of the host, user, password, and DB. And then this configure function will be able to make sure that your, I mean, this bot is able to make the connection to your database. So this is done by this configure function. What you're doing in configure function, as soon as you get this whole information, now you're returning this SQL database, and in SQL database you are generating your engine, and in that you are giving the user password, host, and DB, right? So you have already stored this all information here, in user, password, DB, and uh, host variables, right? And this you have taken the all the input from the users. So you already have all the information, right? So here, the moment you call this function, it is able to connect to your database, right? And you are also this you're writing this try and accept, like if it is if it has any error, if we are given this some wrong information or something else, then it would be able to say that the error in connecting to your database, right? This is done. Till here you have made connection to your database, you have initiated your language model, right? And you have taken all the four information from the user so that you could so that the connection could be made to the chatbot, sorry, the database. Okay. So till here, this has been done. And now from here, you look, there is a concept of session state, right? Now you understand why the session state is important. What is the session state? So in the Streamlit web page, right? If I show you here, this is the chatbot that we are talking about, right? This is the chatbot, right? So what happens is whenever you click to any button, right? This is done, right? I mean, if I connect this, now it says that connected to your database. If I click on any next or anything else, any other button, right? This Streamlit page is reloaded again, and you understand. This is important because, the moment you click the another button, this page is reloaded. And since this page is reloaded, now again this connection will be disconnected. Now it is no longer connected to your database. Again, it will ask for the connection. Hmm? Why this problem happens? Because the moment you click on next button, you clicked this, you click this say that connected to your database. You click the next button. The moment you click the next button, this Streamlit page is reloaded again. And since the page is reloaded, now you don't have a connection now, right? That connection is disconnected. So for that reason, what we do is we use this session state. Now this session state is helpful in restoring the or remembering the memory. It remembers all the information that you have given to that piece, until and unless you rephrase it, right? So now you click to a different button, that previous information is restored. And for that reason, we are using here session state. Now here we are seeing that if my DB is not in st.session state, this is the function of Streamlit. That's where we are writing st.session state. So we are initializing one variable called mydb, right? Right. So we are saying that if my database is not in session logic state, then what you do is in mydb you assign this null value, right? If nothing is there in mydb, right? In mydb variable. Now this mydb in this mydb, right? Variable will return this, right? Whatever uh, whatever we are returning from here, right? You remember that we have written this configure function, and this configure function is helpful in making connection to your database. Now, if this connection has been made, now if if this connection has been made successfully, so then MyDB will not be empty, right? There would be something in MyDB, right? But if the connection has not made, then MyDB would be empty, and there would not be any information on that page. And that's why we are saying that if MyDB is not in system state, then what you do is you just restore none to that variable MyDB, right? Now here what you are doing is if right here you are giving a button called connect. So you remember there was a button called connect. So you could remember here there is a button called connect. So the moment you press this connect button, what happens is um, we're saying that we are calling this function configure, and this function require host user password and DB. You remember here this function required this four input. So you are giving this all input here, and whatever is returning from this function, you're restoring in or you are storing it in MyDB variables. Now, now, if next line, if you see the next line, if st.7state.mydb, you are saying that if there is something in MyDB, right? If connection has been made, right? If connection has been made, if MyDB is containing the database, then you write that st.success connected to your database. Then this message appears and it says that now the connection has made to your database. And in case of error, it says that failed to connect, please check your credentials. So this is how this connection works, right? So in the MyDB, your database is stored. Okay. Now, so far, you have stored your database to your variables, right? You have seen what is the use of session state and when you are using a Streamlit. Now you will see, um, now you will see that how this agents and toolkit initiative, how this is helpful in making query formulation and also retrieving the data from your database. So here you are writing that if st.7state.mydb, if your connection has been made here, look at this. Only proceed if the data connection has been made, right? So this if statement will only be executed if there is something in MyDB. It means that if the connection has been made, to your database, and that database is stored in this MyDB variables. So now you are saying that if the connection has been made, then you're using this function SQLDatabaseToolkit, and this is helpful in initiating the tools. Right? You remember, the tools that we were talking about, and these tools require which tools I have to use. This asks two information, which tools I should use. So you are giving the name of your tool as MyDB because you have stored your database in MyDB. So in the DB parameter, DB is a parameter of SQL Database Toolkit. So in the DB parameters, you are giving this information that MyDB is my database. And you're giving your language model as LLM because here you have stored your language model in the variable called LLM, right? So this toolkit required this two information, right? Once this has been completed, now you create the agents. Remember, agent is a brain. Now this function is used to initiate this agent, create SQL agent, and this agent required a couple of information like LLM, which LLM you want to interact. This agent would be able to interact with that LLM. Tool in the toolkit parameters you are giving this toolkit variable name, and in agent type you are giving this zero shot React description, right? Now you remember when we talk about the prompt engineering, right? Then then also this kind of things we have, like we have zero shot prompting, we have few shot prompting, we have chain of thought kind of things. Here the zero shot means that you are not training your, or you are not giving your uh, training to your model, right? So this model is has not seen such kind of questions and responses in its training time, right? You're not giving any kind of information related to your query, right? So you remember in the zero shot we used to give, we didn't use to give any kind of information related to your query. But in the few sort, we used to give few examples, right? So that the model would be able to learn the things that, okay, this is how I have to um, generate the responses, right? So that is done by in the few shot prompting, right? So here also this zero shot React description in the same, right? You're not using any kind of pre-training here, and that's why you're using that. The agent that I want is zero shot React description. And also you are giving verbose equal to true because you want to see all the processing, right? So this has been done here. The tools and agents has been generated. You have given the information that what kind of tools you want to use. Here you want to use your database as a tool, right? Now, now here, now from here, this is not the mandatory things to do in this project, right? I mean, except one or two lines. But this is quite interesting to see. Like here, if you see this function is responsible for clearing the message history. So if you could remember, there was a button called clear message history. If I click on this button, the all history gone. It means that this button is helpful in deleting all the previous chat, right? So here, if you could see now you could see here in the if statement writing that if message is not in st.session state or st.sidebar.button. So you are saying that what you do if you are initiating a variable called messages, you're saying that if it is not on that web page, on that UI, right, Streamlit UI, and or you have clicked this button in both the cases, or in either of the cases, what you're saying that you do this, what you're doing in the messages, right? You're storing this dictionary, and this dictionary is stored in a list, right? So this messages is a list now. And in that list, you are storing a dictionary in the key value pair, and here is key is the role, and you're giving that value as a state system, and in the content, you're giving that how can I help you? So if you could remember, right? So you have not given any kind of query yet, right? So it's saying that how can I help you, right? If you could connect to this, right? It's saying that how can I help you? And this is because Here you have written that how can I help you, right? So if nothing is there, then this is displayed, right? Now see. Now here this function, right? If you could see, this function is helpful in displaying the previous messages. So you could remember when I asked what is the average price of the flights between New Delhi to Hyderabad, and if you could remember, the I was able to see the previous chat, right? So that was also there on the same page, right? So this function is responsible for displaying those previous messages. So it says that for message, so you're using a for loop here, and you're saying that for message in st session store dot messages. So this is the message. This is the list that you are iterating through. So you are writing that for message in this messages. What you do is you write st.chat message, and in message of role, now could see this message of role may you write message content, right? So you write function, I mean dot write whatever function you are using. This function display the content within the chat box, right? So here, so here whatever we write, whatever we give, right? So whatever we write, like what is the average price, right? Whatever. I haven't given any I haven't given any I mean any specific query. Still it is able to make something out of it, right? It is giving the average price of all the flights, right? So I mean whatever you could see here, right? Whatever you could see here on this web page, this is because of this function, right? Now you're using this input. You're taking the user input from this function. You know this st.chat input in the placeholder. You're writing that ask anything from that database, right? So here, if you could remember, this is that chat box, and in the chat box you appear ask anything from the database. So this is because of this function, and you're storing that user input in the user query variable, right? So if and from here, now if you could see from here, it is said that if you could see this if statement, if user query, it means that if user has asked anything, right? Then then you do this. Now what is this? st.session messages dot append role user and content by user query. Now you remember here in the messages we initiated a variable, and that variable was nothing but a list. And in the list we are storing this dictionary. So in the role, write the user. It means that now you will be able to differentiate between the user and the assistant, right? Assistant here is a right that bot, and user is the user one, right? So in the content we are giving this user query, this input that was given by the user, right? And same st.chat messages user.write user query. So we'll be able to see whatever the users um, whatever the query that has been given by the users on this UI, right? So you could see here whatever the you could see that what is the average price. This you are saying because of this code, right? So it display the previous messages, right? Now here, from here, whatever you could see now, not whatever, from here you could see that with st.chat messages assistant, right? You are you are calling a function called Streamlit call back handler. Now this ensure that the process is visible to the user. So now if you could remember, so whenever I write any query, we are able to see that what this agent is doing, right? So the agent is thinking, right? So it is now here it is thought. It's thinking. I need to calculate the average price. So now it's thinking. Now it's taking the action. Now it's saying that I need to connect to this SQL database query, right? I mean, this is one of the query that is related to SQL database, right? And then it's generating the query. To this all entire process, you are seeing because you have used this Streamlit function called Streamlit call back handler. And then you are saying that agent.run user query, and in the callback, you are giving this variable, right? Now this agent.run this run function is helpful in getting the response. So now you're saying that now I'm giving the query to the agent. Now agent decide that but which query I should generate and which database I should use, and then the tools this query is executed, and then the response is retrieved, and along with the help of language model, this agent is able to generate the responses, right? So and now here again in the messages in the next line, right? This is not useful. You could also remove this. So in this here in the next line, you are saying that st.session st.messages.append. Now you are saying that now whatever the messages that now this content this response would be generated by this assistant, and this assistant is nothing but the agent. So you are giving that now this answer is generated by the assistant, and the content is response, right? So whenever the user is asking querying, so in the role you are writing user, and the content you are writing user query. But when the chatbot is generating some response, then you're writing role as assistant and content as response. And this is helpful in differentiating that what are the which has been asked by the user and which has been asked by the which has been generated by the this assistant means this agent, right? And then you are writing history.write responses, right? So whatever response you have stored in this variable, you are displaying that response on this UI, right? So this is how you could make this application, and and that's all about this code. This is a simple code. And here you could interact with your database. You could connect to your any database, and you could chat with that database. Right. So make sure before running this application, you are aware of this, installing these requirements. You are also aware of this .env file and creating the environment variable, right? We You have to make sure that you are in the same environment, right? So this should be taken care of. And if you want to know how this .env file and requirement.txt is set up and from the scratch, then I have used I have used this requirement.txt file creation and .env file creation from the scratch in my chatbot video, right? So I have made a video where I have created a chatbot, right, on Apple devices query chatbot. So in that video, I have shown how this environment is set up, how this .env file is created, and what are all things that we have to store there in .env file, and how this requirement.txt file is created, and how we install all the different dependencies and all the libraries that is required for this project, right, in that video, right? So you could follow that video uh, before um, before you are going anything or you are writing any code related to this project, right? And if you already know, then it's well and good, right? So this is the simple project where you have learned that how you could interact to your database, right? So that's all about I mean this project, right? Hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or any concern or any feedback that you want to give, um, regarding this project or regarding the process, you could drop your comment in the comment box, right? That's all about this video. Thank you all.